Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Dr. Cynthia Dempsey, and I am so excited because we have an amazing guest today who is extremely special to me, and it is my wonderful husband, Horace Fitzgerald Dempsey Jr. Yes, he is our guest on today's All Things New, our InKNOWvators series. You are going to have an amazing time getting to know this man of God who has had just a God-ordained journey. So as always, get your notebooks ready so that you can take some notes as he inspires you to go forward and accomplish all that God has sent you into this earth realm. Are you ready? Let's go. Bye. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Dr. Cynthia Dempsey. Welcome to All Things New, the Kingdom InKNOWvator series. And I am so excited because I have with me Kingdom InKNOWvator, my husband, amazing man of God who has so many different stories that he's going to share with us of his journey. Mr. Horace F. Dempsey Jr. Welcome, welcome, welcome to All Things New. Thank you so much for joining us. So we've known each other for a long time, and I'm just, I'm really honored to be your wife, and also just the journeys that you have had. Would you maybe share something from your childhood that you look back now and you say, you know, that was a pivotal moment in my life that maybe helped to shape who you are today?
Well, I'll say one that was a pivotal moment, and at the time I thought, with my father telling me this, that it wasn't a good thing, but later in life, it did teach me something. I was a little boy and I got bullied. A guy pushed me down, and so I went home and I was crying. He pushed me around, and I went and told my father, "Hey, this guy pushed me down," and he kind of pushed me, and my father told me, "Well, would you rather for me to get you, or are you going to go out there and face this guy?" And I went outside and faced the guy. I don't know what happened or whatever. I don't know if I talked to him. I don't know. We fussed. I can't remember the details of me facing him, but it in that moment, it taught me that no matter what comes up comes up in your life, that you had to face it. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes it's going to be seeming bigger than you are, but with God, all things are possible. So from that experience, it helped me to grow and realize no matter what it is, we have to face it. We know that it might be big. It might be a situation that seems insurmountable, but with God, all things are possible. So if we just face it and deal with it, it might not be it might not happen, or things might not turn out the way we want to, but we'll face it. And with God, all things are possible. So that was a pivotal moment to in my life that helped me, that when there's something else that comes up against me, first of all, I have to face it. I have to acknowledge what it is, but I'm going to put it in God's hands, and I'm going to face it, but no matter what it is.
So that facing things and standing up to a challenge, when you were in your high school years and getting ready to decide what were you going to do with the future, tell us, what did you face, and what were some of the decisions you made that maybe kind of changed the course of your life?
Well, when I was at high school, when I first got in high school, I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I had it in my mind that I wanted to go to college. And I had a situation that really helped me and encouraged me. And I use the example because encouragement and helping others are so important. I had a situation where I went to my counselor, and the counselor at school, I told him, well, I want to go to college. And he said, well, okay, you could go to college. He said, he gave me some test or something. And then after the test, he said, well, I don't know about you going to college. You don't have the skills or the ability. He sent me to a neighboring school, Crossland, that had a bricklaying program. So I started going to Crossland, training how to be a bricklayer. And it's nothing wrong with being a bricklayer, but I said I wanted to go to college. That didn't equate to doing that trade of bricklaying. So I was going to the counselor. So I went back to the counselor for some reason, and he wasn't there. So it was another counselor there, Mrs. Phillips. And I sat down and I told her my goals and my objectives and what the other counselor said. And she told me, absolutely not. She said, you're not going to go to Crossland anymore. She said, why are you taking bricklaying if you want to go to college? And are you taking the courses that you need to qualify to be a college student? And I told her about some tests, and she said, that test don't equate to what you are. That doesn't identify who you are. And immediately she pulled me out from Crossland. She looked at my schedule and started setting me up to be able to go to college. And another thing, she canceled me ever going to that other counselor again. He was no longer my counselor. She became my counselor. So right then, that showed me had the power of God of encouragement and encouraging others. And that just taught me to be encouraged, to believe that God, anything could be done through God. And even when the enemy tries to say that you're not qualified, God will make you qualified for what he has already purposed and planned for your life. So it was the beginning of getting ministered to me to know that I had a purpose and I had a plan, even in times when I didn't think that I would achieve that, or I swayed away from what God had, called me to do. That was the beginning of knowing that I had a purpose and plan from God and that I could go forward.
I love that because, of course, in working with young people, just seeing the power of our words and how the other person, the first counselor, didn't necessarily speak life over you, but put limitations. But then God allowed you, as you shared, to have Miss Phillips to come, and she spoke life. So we praise God for people like that. And I know that in my observations of you, you live that out amongst those that you encounter, even when you were, because we've known each other since we were children. And I know that with your peer group that you had, you would frequently be the one who would speak life. Do you have, while we're talking about, those formative years, do you have any experiences from when you were a young person that maybe how God used you to impact positively the lives of those around you?
Yes, I think God was always putting me in a situation where I was helping somebody one way or other. I had friends that wanted to fight, or I had friends that wanted to use drugs, and I was always there encouraging and motivating them to do the right thing, and always protecting and not really realizing I was doing that. I give you, for instance, sometimes when I was younger, you go to a party. I went to a party, and it was a girl there that I think she was either drinking. I didn't know she had smoked something, but she was acting kind of weird. And it was a guy there that was like, "Hey, I'm going to take her home. I'm going to be with her." And of course, I was like, "No, well, not today. You're definitely not." And I made sure she rode back with us, and I took her home to her house, and later her mother and her thanked me, and I didn't have a second thought about doing something to help somebody, and that's something God put in me, but I didn't know at the time. I thought that's what something everybody would do. I didn't think that, I was doing anything special. I just thought that's the way what we're supposed to do. That's what my parents taught, especially my mom. She was always helping somebody, in spite of. Sometimes she would help people, and I was just like, "Well, Mom, we don't even have anything. How are you going to help somebody else?" But she didn't let that stop her from helping, because the lack that we have. And I learned, even in me not being fully thinking I'm capable, I'm still able to help somebody. So even when you think that you're not qualified or you can't help anybody, God will enable you to help somebody, even if it's just the words out of your mouth, by just letting Him speak to you through you. So I learned that too. I always thought I had to be qualified. I had to do this. And God was training him up and showing me that even in myself, my feeling of lack of qualifications, that He is qualified and He is God. And He will give you the revelations to say out of your mouth, if you're willing, even when you don't see to have those qualifications. He will qualify you.
Yeah, that's so good. I remember a lot of times we've talked about seeming like going to functions and feeling like we were the designated person to help people. You shared one time about when you hearing the voice of God when you went to a party. So dancing and celebrating with music was a big part of your life.
Right.
Yes. So can you tell a little bit about that incident where it was one where you really felt like you heard the voice of God, and you feel like you were sharing that because you heard His voice, you feel like it saved you and those who were with you?
Well, one time we were going out, and I think we was in there, we was partying, we was having a good time, I thought, and one of my friends got into an incident, and and I heard God clearly say, "Look, if you and your friends don't leave, you might die tonight." I mean, and God clearly said that. And I immediately was just like, wow, why is God telling me this? But I heard you. And we got out of the place. I gathered them up and we left in the middle of the party. And, at that time we were like, this party is nice. We don't want to go. But I gathered them and I told them, no, God spoke to me, and we left. And after that function, a couple people got shot outside that at that same function. So clearly God was speaking to me. I said, even in my foolishness, God spoke to me. So when God tells you something, you need to act on it. And it could be your life when He tells you. And, we have a choice, but, if you choose not to listen to what God said, you could be in trouble. So.
Amen to that. Because we're, the go-go was the thing, and so going to the go-go's, and my husband is an amazing dancer. He even got offered to go on tour, to dance as a backup dancer for an artist. But you had a lot of different opportunities and things in your life. So we talked a little bit about you, and another thing that I've always known, you've always worked. What's your earliest job that you can remember that you've had?
I think the earliest job is I made a job. I needed some money, and I always was washing cars in the neighborhood, doing different things. But I looked and I read this article about aluminum recycling and how that was so important. So I came up, I got my friend together, and we started getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, going through dumpsters, trash, picking out aluminum cans every morning. And my father would, once I gathered them and put them in a big plastic bag, I would recycle them at the end of the week. Me and my friend would do that. And it'd be dirty. It'd be a mess. But I did that so consistently. Some of the places that I would go to start to bag up the aluminum cans for me before I got there. They stopped throwing them in the trash. It was one shop that was an electrical shop, and those guys would sit around and drink beer all day long. They started to put the aluminum cans on the side because they knew I was coming. So I wouldn't have to dig through the trash. And that just told me, if you work hard, God will make a way. Even when you think there's nothing to do, he will show you opportunity that wasn't there if you just listen to him. So that was one of my first jobs. I was a trash picker with aluminum cans.
Yes. Okay. So you have ingenuity. You're never there. I don't think there's ever been a season where you weren't working, even from, like you said, as a teenager, you've been working and using your leadership skills in whichever area that God would send you.
Yeah.
So now let's go back to when you were in high school. I know one thing you wanted to be a businessman. And then what were some of the businesses after high school that you started or participated in?
Well, after high school, I guess I was always doing some kind of business. I started a carpet cleaning business. Me and one of my cousins got together, and we were doing commercial carpet cleans. We would get the carpet together, and we would get the contract, and then we would do different carpets, shampoo them, steam clean them, and we got paid for that. A host of jobs. My wife knows I did photography, did wedding photography, have done catering, a host of other just one time we started like a car washing business where we were washing all the cars in the neighborhood. We were just like we will hand wash and detail vehicles in our neighborhood, and we had a good amount of clientele that we were steadily washing or detailing their cars. I don't know, I always start some little project or some little opportunity that God would allow me and show me to do. And to this day, still starting businesses here and there.
Yes. Okay, we're going to come back to that part. But I want to move ahead a little bit. You started your college journey once you got out of school, and then it's maybe what was the next steps after you started the college journey, and then you made a decision that impacted the future?
Well, I started my college journey. I was busy. I had again started a little a business. I was working. I started my college. I signed up for. I was going to school at UDC, and I had started my college journey. And I think I had a lot going on, and I was overwhelmed a little bit. But I was saying I need to go forth, and I wanted to get married. And I was just like, I don't think I had adequate benefits. So one day I was working at a Marine Corps building. I was doing security at a Marine Corps site where it was a Marine. So they were talking to me every day. And so I just decided one weekend that I was going to join the Marines. And so I left on a Friday. They put me up in a hotel. They talked to me. And by Monday, I had signed up and threw my hand up for the Marine Corps. And which they said, well, in a couple of months, you'll be going to training. But within a week or two, I was on.
Wow. Have you been inspired by what you've heard today? I certainly have been. I cannot wait to see what else we will learn when we continue with our interview of Mr. Horace Dempsey Jr. Make sure you join us for the next episode of All Things New with our Kingdom InKNOWvator series. Until then.